my lovely stitchy friends. How are you all doing? This is Mieke. Today is Friday, April 28th, and I am here with a new Flosstube video. I know, it has only been 2 months. Mieke, what are you doing? This is way quicker than normal. Well, there are a couple of reasons for that. A, we are having a long weekend here in the Netherlands, or at least I am having a long weekend. Because yesterday was King's Day, which is our national King's Day in the Netherlands. That is a very good explanation, Mieke. Keep going. So yesterday we had off. Friday is always my day off. And so I have a wonderful 4-day weekend that's going to be filled with lots of stitching as soon as this video is up on YouTube. Reason number 2, it is almost Maynia. And I am going to participate in Maynia in a big way. In a much bigger way than I ever have before. So let's see how that is going to pan out. And 3, I have a very special second part of this video. And that is my very first ever Flosstube TED Talk. I am going to spend time in this video talking to you guys about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is artificial intelligence. If you have seen my Instagram posts from the last few days, you know that I've teased you about this. And I'm actually really very excited to be talking to you about this subject. Artificial intelligence is my work. Artificial intelligence has by now entered the cross-stitch space. And I think it is high time that we have a nice little conversation about what actually is that and what actually does all of that mean. But first we are going to go through the update of my stitching, and I am of course going to show you all my Maynia plans. Last time we talked, I was having a holiday and I was going to go to Spain. Spain was lovely. Oh, it was so nice to be back there for the first time since 4 years. I had not been there since the pandemic. Just to see the sea and feel that early spring sunshine on your face and enjoying all the good food, and it was lovely. And back here in the Netherlands, we are in the middle of spring now, but it doesn't really look like it, to be honest. We've had a couple of nice sunny days, but spring so far has been pretty rainy and pretty autumny. And now that I think of it, I might actually blame that or put that as the reason why I have started an autumny sort of heaven and earth designs that is in the pile here next to me on the sofa, but we will get to that. Last time we talked, I showed you that I had pulled this beautiful piece back out. This is my Super Sea Opal, a Heaven and Earth Designs chart by Elizabeth Welker. This is where we were last time. And I have since finished the page. Now this one is always a challenge to see if I can get it up on screen. Yeah, there we go. I finished this page, that is page 6. Oh, it's looking splendid here. Oh, love it. That is Super Sea Opal. And if you watched my video last time, you have heard me laugh and then proceed to make a horrible basic counting mistake. I told you that I was talking to Patricia about Super Sea Opal and that I had seen in my Stitch Pal app that it would take me until I was at least 54 or 50 to complete that. When I was editing this video later, I realized that I was off by 10 years. I am not going to be 50 when I hopefully finish this piece. I'm going to be 60. Oh my goodness. And that little realization stuck with me as I was in Spain. As you know, this is the one piece that I want to hang above my sofa whenever I get it finished. And if it takes me until the age of 60, I am at this moment in time 38, that is way too long. So I need to get going. And that also had an immediate impact on the plans that I told you last time. Last time I showed you that I was going to start a beautiful piece by Nadia Strakina, Lighted Mermaid. When I realized my counting mistake during the editing of that Flosstube, I went back and forth, and I decided, no, Mika, you're not going to do that. You want to get Sea Opal finished. You have loads of other hate projects that you love. And Lighted Mermaid is gorgeous, but it is a bit more of the same. She looks like fairy. She looks like Fairyland, also by Nadia Strakina. Nope, you're not going to start this just yet. And instead what I did is that while in the airport traveling back from Spain to the Netherlands and waiting, you know, for suitcases and boarding and all that kind of fun stuff, I went through all my Instagram posts and I made a little highlight on Instagram that showed you all my hate whips. Here it is. You can find it on my Instagram in my hate highlight. And as I was doing that little whip parade on Instagram, I was like, yeah, you're not going to start Lighted Mermaid. And instead, you are going to be working on the whips that you have. And you are going to make sure that that hate number 22, which is my favorite number because my birthday falls on a 22, you're going to make sure that hate number 22 is going to be a real special piece that looks different from what you already have. And so that is how I have proceeded since my holiday in Spain. And one of the things that I showed you on Instagram is that I brought back one of my oldest Heaven and Earth designs. And that is a piece that I love and that I had not worked on for years. Moon Charmer by Amy Stewart. And I mean, it was so fun to get her back out. I mean, she was sort of on the bottom of the pile because I really had not worked on her for years. And back in the day, I had only started in the top left corner and I had not even done half of a page. This is where I was when I picked it back up. And as soon as I picked that whip back up, I so thoroughly enjoyed it, and I so very much enjoyed that I devoted time to Moon Charmer again. And thanks to that, I have now finished the first page. Here it is. Stars and night sky and trees and just all the goodness. Loads of the high numbers of 790, so 797, 796, 798, 799. I'm so glad that I brought this piece back out. So I worked on that, and after that I moved to another hate that I hadn't worked on for a time, and that was my Peacock Daisy, part of the hashtag Leap Day sale. This was a stitch along that we started on the Leap Day of 2020. And we said back then to each other, we have 4 years to finish this project. Let's see if we can finish a hate before the next Leap Day comes around the corner. Next Leap Day is going to be next year, 2024. I don't think that's going to happen, but that is okay. This is Peacock Daisy. Oh, stunning. This was a freebie that Hate posted on their website a couple of years ago, or sorry, on their Facebook group a couple of years ago, or even on their website as well. I don't remember. This is retired. You cannot get this anywhere else. You can't buy it. You can't ask Hate to chart it again for you. And many people are bummed that they missed out on this. I luckily got it, and beautiful. I took that out, and before I show it to you now, here is where it was the last time. And here is where Peacock Daisy is right now. Ah, look at those colors. This arrow in the middle here signals the center of the top row. This is such a breeze, honestly. You know how much I love confetti, and especially the effect that confetti gives. You know how much I love Max colors. This is just a regular color version, and it is such a breeze to stitch on. Absolutely lovely. So that was Peacock Daisy. And then I did start my hate number 22. And you know what? I am indeed going to blame the rainy autumny spring weather. Let's do that. Let's not blame my startitis. Let's not blame my creative lack of willpower. Let's just blame it on the autumny spring, shall we? And this is a piece that I talked to you about last time already. The absolutely stunning Miss Magic Autumn by Genevieve Art. Oh, she's so beautiful. This is my 22nd hate, and you guys, this is the first time that I am stitching on a project without even one shade of blue. Mika, what has happened to you? Yeah, I don't know either. She has no blues in her. I've had her charted for max colors, as I told you last time. I told you last time as well that I was going to wait until the summer or until the autumn. That has not happened. But again, I am blaming our rainy autumny spring. Oh, she's gorgeous. She is gorgeous. I've started on her on Easter. So that was just a couple of weeks ago. And by now, I am almost at the first page finish. Will you look at that? The colors and the detail. I mean, I posted this on Instagram. Look at the detail in these little acorns. That is such amazing charting on Hate's part. Love it. This is a very confetti heavy piece, but totally worth it. And I can honestly say I don't miss the blues just yet. So I don't know what's happening to me. Maybe I am evolving into even another version of myself. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. These are the projects that I worked on. And now let us talk about Maynia. Maynia is around the corner. If you are a stitcher who doesn't know yet about Maynia, stitchmaynia spelled M-A-Y-N-I-A. That is always difficult, those vowels into English when you're Dutch. Maynia was coined a couple of years ago by, I believe, 2 or 3 stitchers on Instagram or on Facebook. And Maynia is manic May. Stitch on whatever you want and make it crazy. Go through all your whips, start I don't know how many projects, go for finishes or, you know, fully finished objects. Do whatever you want, but do something different during May than what you would normally do. And I think I am going to do that. I have talked on my Instagram in 2 different posts that I was thinking about throwing a little non-Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage Maynia. As you know, I am really particular to Hate. I love the company. I love their customer service. I love the artists that they license and that they chart. But Hate is, of course, not the only full coverage company out there. There are a couple more. And I have a few designs of those companies, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I throw a little non-hateful coverage Maynia? That started with a couple of Artisy patterns that I bought last Black Friday. Artisy is a company that I have never purchased from before. but it had been on my mind for a long time to purchase something with them because of this beauty. This is Waltz Saw Star, original design by Shu. I remember seeing this piece on somebody's Instagram. I will try to find it and put the handle up on the screen here. And oh my goodness, those colors. Oh, this has been on my wish list for a couple of years. And last Black Friday, I absolutely caved. And while I was at it, I bought some more. I'm not going to start all of them during Maynia, but I am going to start one other artsy pattern, and that is a Leonid Efremov piece. This is Fog in the Evening Park, and both designs, by the way, are the large chart versions. So larger designs, larger fabrics, more detail, more colors. If you have seen my Heaven and Earth Designs highlight on Insta, you know that I have UFO'd the first Leonid Efremov piece that I started, Evening. Do I have it here? No, I don't have it with me. I will put in a picture. As much as I think that Evening is a beautiful design, Evening and I just didn't vibe with each other. And Sasha, darling Sasha, helped me find why. She wrote to me at some point, Mika, as much blue as there is in that piece, the actual protagonist color is red. And she was right. That was what made it click for me. And then I was, yeah, no wonder that I don't really vibe with it, because it's not the main color. And then I saw this beauty on Artsy. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that blue is the main protagonist color on this one. So this is Fog in the Evening Park, the large version, and that is going to replace my Evening Efremov piece by Hate in my whip list. Those are the two artsy patterns that I'm going to start, but they are by no means the only ones. Also, in the last couple of months, I discovered a beautiful, wonderful little cross-stitch designs company called Contemporary Cross. And when I went through their catalog, I came across the beautiful designs by an artist called Jennifer Taylor. And there are so many of her designs that I love, but there is one that absolutely stood out to me. The Way Through the Woods. Oh, those colors. This immediately clicked with me, and I bet you have no trouble seeing why. And the real nice thing is that I messaged the owner of of Contemporary Cross, and I messaged her on Instagram and I said, do you by any chance also do max colors? She said yes, and I kid you not, within 24 hours, she had charted this design for max colors and it was ready for purchase. That is a big thumbs up. That makes me immediately a fan of your design company. It is a biggie. It is, let me check, 500 stitches square. So it is absolutely, you know, like a full size Hate. Wait, I'm doing something wrong here with my tablet. That's funny. I have somehow clicked a button and now it won't. Ah, here we go. Got it. Never mind. Me and technology. That is going to be particularly funny in the second bit of this video, because my TED Talk is all about technology. Anyway, all of that aside, that is going to be new start number 3. And even then we are not done yet, because I am also going to incorporate a couple of pieces from another new to me full coverage design company called Charting Creations. And I have to thank 2 beautiful stitches on Instagram for that, Jantina and Siske. They both stitch on my favorite animals, tigers. This is Daydream Tigers large version by Sheena Pike. And since I posted this on Instagram, quite a few more people have told me that they also have this as a whip, and I can fully understand why, because it is. If you love tigers, and I do, this is gorgeous. This is a real big one. This is 628 by 850. That is taller than my Super C Opal. Not in total amount of stitches, but Super C Opal is 800 stitches square. Daydream Tigers large is going to be 850 stitches on the largest side. You will not see me finish this for a couple of lifetimes, probably. But hey, I am a process stitcher, and if we are talking about choosing designs that are a little bit less of what you normally do, this definitely applies. Right? Right? Please tell me so. Please, guys. I am kidding. This I love. And after that, I am going to start another Charting Creations piece. I put those up on my Instagram last week, combined with a few others, and I asked my followers, what do you guys think? And this one also got a lot of love. This is Winter Cold by Mad Art Designs. And this is such a burst of color. I mean, this is going to be so much fun. So Winter Cold by Mad Art. And even then, we are not yet done. There's one more piece that I'm going to start during Maynia, so that makes for a total of 5 new starts. No, 6 new starts. Here I go again with the math. And my 6th new start is Lanarte's Blue Flowers Girl. Oh boy, isn't she just gorgeous? This is a Lanart kit that so many people on Instagram messaged me about when it was released quite a while ago, saying, Mika, this is a chart for you. Mika, this is a chart for you. And I absolutely agree. I told Jantina on Instagram that it has been 20 years since I last purchased a Lanart kit. So, you know, I think I have deserved a new one by now. And she is beautiful. She is almost completely full coverage. There are little bits and pieces here where the white linen that comes with the kit comes through, but other than that, she is completely full coverage. The kit comes with fabric, with a paper chart that I'm absolutely going to digitize, and then of course with all the colors that you need. And let me take those out to show you how beautiful they are. These are the colors. No. Yep, that's gonna be fun. And when I posted this on Instagram, lovely Kristin, Stitchy Mom on Instagram, wrote to me, I have that kit as well. Let's do a sale. So yes, let's do that. And to everyone else who has this beautiful girl, if you want to join in a sale with me and Kristin during Maynia or whenever time later, please feel free. Kristin, what shall we call our sale? Shall we just stick to Blue Flowers Girl sale? Is that okay with you? Yeah, gorgeous. Those are my Maynia plans. What do you think, guys? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are and if you are going to participate in Maynia in whatever shape or form. I have to say that I'm in equal parts very excited as well as a little bit intimidated. I have never done a Maynia on such a scale before. And I know that there are people who take it way, way, way further than me. Some of them start, I don't know, 23 projects for the year 2023. I applaud you. I find you very courageous. I don't think that that is for me. But this is already going to be quite an exciting challenge for me. 5 full coverage projects, all of them new cross-stitch companies and new artists for me. I will obviously keep you updated on my Instagram, and at some point I will obviously make a new Flosstube video where I show all these new starts to you. And now that that is all discussed and shown and talked about, we are going to move into the most important topic of this video. Welcome to my Flosstube TED Talk. If you have read the title of this video, or if you have seen my little teaser posts on Instagram, you know that I want to talk to you about a topic that is very dear to my heart, which is artificial intelligence. More specifically, artificial intelligence in cross-stitch, and even more specifically, artificial intelligence art in cross-stitch. That is an entire mouthful. I work in artificial intelligence, shortly AI. AI is my daily job. I work in AI systems every day of the week, and the field of content that I work in is called conversational AI. I love my job, as I've told you in previous videos. I find the whole realm of AI and all its, technological highlights incredibly intriguing and fascinating. And a couple of months ago, I became aware for the first time that AI, and specifically AI art, have now entered the realm of stitching. And ever since I first saw that, I have been thinking about this little TED Talk. I want to share my knowledge with you. I want to tell you about AI in cross-stitch, and I want to make you aware of the various ethical issues that are surrounding AI art. So if that sounds good to you, please keep on watching and keep on having a visit with me. I can imagine that maybe at this point you want a fresh beverage, a fresh cup of coffee, a fresh cup of tea, a juice, a soda, a water. Hit pause for a second. I am also going to take a sip. And if you're not stitching already, please grab some stitching or knitting or drawing or whatever it is that you like to do. And then let's dive in. I first became aware of the presence of AI art, as it is known in cross-stitch, in January, thanks to Artisy. As I told you in my Maynia plans, Artisy is a company that I had never purchased from before. The purchases that I did on Black Friday of last year were my first ones. And after that, I started following Artisy on their Instagram page. And 2 months later, towards the end of January, I was scrolling through Instagram one day. I scrolled past a post by Artisy, and one word in that post immediately stood out to me, and that was the word Midjourney. Here is that post. It was January 24, and it was a piece of art called Australian Homestead. And the word Midjourney stood out to me immediately because Midjourney is one of the most popular and well-known software programs about AI art. Midjourney is a program where artificial intelligence can make and generate images and art for you. If that sounds mind-blowing, it absolutely is. It is a brand new piece of technology. It has only been on the market for about 2 years. Midjourney itself launched in 2022, so it hasn't even been around for a full year yet at this point. But it is gaining lots and lots and lots of popularity. And since that January 24 post, I have seen Artisy post AI art charts. Geez, what a tongue twister. AI art charts on the regular. This was, for instance, February 2, a chart called German Shepherd. And then throughout the months of February and March, Tarina Clark, who owns and runs Artisy, as far as I'm aware, has been dabbling more in Midjourney and has released various stunning, absolutely gorgeous and colorful dragon patterns. And ever since I saw that happening, I have been working and thinking on this little Flosstube TED Talk. And I want to go over 3 things with you. First, I'm going to give you a little introduction and background. What are we actually talking about? What the heck is AI art? And what is it doing in the cross-stitch space? Then I am going to tell you how AI programs are built and how they work, what they need to work. And then we get to the core of my talk, which is the various ethical issues that are surrounding AI art. And in my personal opinion, it is absolutely imperative that every stitcher gets a basic understanding of these things. AI is not something that you have to be afraid of, but it is something that you just have to be aware of. It is a fascinating science and technology. It holds a lot of promise for the future, but it also holds a lot of risks and quite some, social ethical concerns. And I want to just share my knowledge with you on the topic, and I want to make you aware of all of that so that you can then go forth and form your own opinion, and you can use that knowledge in your stitching adventures. And before I start diving into those things, I want to preface all of that by saying 3 things. 1, AI is my job. That means that I know what I'm talking about. I am, however, not the one and only expert that you should listen to on this topic. There are lots of brilliant YouTube content makers out here who also make videos about AI and AI art. If you want me to give you some pointers, let me know in the comments below. I will happily do that. So I am by no means the one and only person who is talking about this. But I do think I can safely assume that I know more about AI than at least 95% of the Flosstube community, maybe even more. In fact, I have not yet met anybody else who is a stitcher and who also works in AI. If you are that person and you are watching this, first of all, hi, lovely to have you here. And secondly, please connect with me. I would absolutely love to get to know you. That is preface 1. Preface 2, very important. This entire little TED Talk is not an attack on anyone. I am not here to blame or shame or call out companies and individual people who dabble in AI art. That is not what this video is for. I am only here to share my knowledge, to share my thoughts, and to make you aware of things that are by now in the cross-stitch space. And number 3, for the purposes of speaking and talking a bit more easily, I am going to be using the general term AI art. And that term itself is quite controversial. Many artists believe that you cannot call AI generated images art. I get where they're coming from, and I mostly sympathize with their opinion, but AI art has a lot less syllables than constantly having to say AI generated images. So for the purposes of talking, I am going to be using the term AI art, and that is for those purposes alone. With all of that out of the way, let's get going and let's dive first into a little bit of introduction and background. When I speak about AI, I am not speaking about Hollywood's idea of AI. I am not talking about evil armies of robots who start to exterminate humans. I am not talking about Ada in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I am also not talking about HBO's Westworld series, where the robot hosts gain consciousness and start murdering the human guests in the theme park. That is not the kind of AI that we are talking about here today. I am talking about AI as the science and the technology that is artificial intelligence. And if you have the feeling that AI has been all over the news in the last few months, you're absolutely right, because it has. AI is a technology that has been with us for quite a few decades now already. but it is currently developing at a mind-boggling speed. And especially in the last 2 years, we have seen the arrival of the first big AI software products geared towards consumers, geared toward people like you and me. That started in 2021 with the arrival of AI art software programs. The most famous of which are Midjourney, that I saw in that Artisty post, DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, DeviantArt's AI, and Google's Imagen. Those are the most well known, and there are a lot more on the way that are being developed and trained right now. And then the real boom came in November of last year. On 13 November 2022, a company called OpenAI released its incredibly powerful chatbot, ChatGPT. And you have probably heard or read about ChatGPT somewhere in the news in the last months, because that chatbot is taking the world by storm. Millions and millions of people are using it. It is incredibly smart. It can function as a search engine. It can function as an encyclopedia, Wikipedia. It can help you with your coding language, your programming language. It is able to generate all sorts of texts, essays, poems, articles, fan fiction, novels, what have you. And also it is at times incredibly ridiculous and incredibly funny, because it still is, of course, an artificial mind. It is not a human being, a human brain or a living thing. So if you have heard a lot of buzz around AI on the news, that is why. It is because of AI art software, and most specifically because of ChatGPT. However, AI has been around you for a lot longer than you are probably aware of. If you are active on the internet, which you obviously are, since you are using YouTube and watching my video, you have already interacted with AI probably thousands of times. The 2010s, so the decade that is now behind us, were the years that experts sometimes name the first wave of AI. And in that decade, we saw the rise of two important things: image labeling and algorithms. Image labeling is a type of technology that you encounter every time that you do an image search in, for instance, Google. And the fact that we can image search has obviously, become something that we take for granted. We have completely gotten used to it. But if you stop and think about it for a second, it is an incredible piece of technology. You type in a written command in, let's say, Google or Bing. Google then knows what those words mean, and it is able to connect those words to an image. We take it for granted, but at the beginning of the 21st century, this was still fantasy. And now it is here, and we use it on a day-to-day basis. That is image labeling. And algorithms are most well known for how they are being used on social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram all use algorithms to determine the order of your non-chronological timeline. TikTok uses algorithms to keep its users scrolling and watching, which is also something that has concerns, because TikTok is, thanks to those algorithms, incredibly addictive. And here on YouTube, when you are done watching my video in however long this TED Talk is going to last, YouTube will have recommendations for you on what you can watch next. All of that is done with algorithms. And those were the big elements of the first wave of AI in the 2010s. And now in the 2020s, we are in what is known as the second wave of AI, and that is called generative AI. AI is by now smart enough that it can not only do things for you, but it can actually make things for you. ChatGPT is an incredibly powerful text writing tool. Like I just said, it can produce entire fan fictions and essays and novels. It generates text. And programs like Midjourney are programs that generate images. AI is also already smart enough to generate sounds. And that is making a lot of people in the music industry very, very nervous. Last week, there was a hilarious, but at the same time, quite concerning little scandal when a duet was launched between The Weeknd and Drake. But only The Weeknd and Drake were not collaborating on a song. That song was entirely generated by artificial intelligence. And obviously, the big people in the music industry dove on top of that and they had it removed from all platforms immediately. But that is by now also something that AI can do. And experts believe that in the next year, maybe 2 years, we will see AI develop to a point where it can generate even short movies. That is where we are now. That is a little bit of introduction and a little bit of background. And now we move to part 2 of my TED Talk, which is how does AI art work and what do you need to build an AI art program? And I have to be honest with you, I have thought about this part of the video for days and days on end. Because making an AI program is something incredibly technical and complex and abstract. And I want to drill it down into a couple of sentences, but would that be okay for me to do? Or would I be doing the technology a disservice or even an injustice? I've been going back and forth on that topic. And I have ultimately decided that yes, I am going to try and drill it down into just sizable bites coupled with a couple of metaphors. Because I think that the majority of people who watch Flosstube have no basic understanding yet of what AI is and how an AI system works. And you absolutely need to get at least a basic idea. So I am going to be grossly oversimplifying things, but I hope it will lead you to a basic understanding of what it takes to build an AI program. And it takes at least 4 main elements: scraping, labeling, training, and ultimately prompting. Scraping is how an AI gets its food. Here we go with the metaphors. Strap in, guys. Metaphors are coming. A human baby needs lots of food to grow. An AI baby also needs lots of food to grow. And where a human baby feeds on milk, an AI baby feeds on data. Lots and lots and lots of data. And it finds that data on the biggest data goldmine that we have, and that is obviously the internet. And that gathering of data is known as scraping. AI art makers don't usually scrape the internet themselves, but they hire or use the work of specific data gathering companies that scour the internet and that collect all sorts of data. For instance, they make a text database for ChatGPT and they make an image database for the Midjourneys of this world. And those data sets are gigantic, absolutely enormous. The biggest and most well-known one is called Lion 5B, and that currently contains a whopping 5.8 billion images. In Dutch, 5,8 miljard. That is unfathomable. So that is the first element, scraping, gathering food, gathering data to feed your AI. Essential key element 2 is labeling. This is a step that is crucial for the AI to get an understanding of context and meaning. And this is something that you might be able to compare with us as preschoolers. When I was a very little girl, my parents gave me a book that I'm sure many of you have gotten from your parents as well, an alphabet picture book. And in that book, every letter of the alphabet would be combined with an object or an animal whose name starts with that same letter. And your parents would go through that book over and over with you. A is for apple, B is for bear, C is for cow, and all the way through to Z is for probably zebra in English, I think. In Dutch it was. That is how we as human toddlers learn the connection between images and words and sounds. That kind of understanding is also something that an AI program needs, and that is done through labeling. If you would feed just those 5.8 billion images from Lion 5B to an AI without any description, without any context, it's, as we would say in Dutch, it would not be able to make chocolate out of it. It would not really get to where you want it to go. And so images need text, need description. And for instance, if you would take a screenshot of this very moment in this video, and you would feed that to an AI, you would need to teach it that this is a head, these are hands, this is the color blue, this is a watch, and this is the color pink, and so on, and so on, and so on. That is key element 2, the labeling. Key element 3 is training. And this is where the AI, metaphorically speaking, goes to school. When you and I go to school, or better said, when you and I went to school, we had a big backpack filled with books. An AI goes to school with a big backpack filled with all that labeled data. And where we as human kids were being taught by teachers, an AI system is being taught by an incredible process called machine learning. And at this point in the video, I am going to refer you to different YouTube videos if you want to learn more. Machine learning is an incredibly complex technical process that concerns multiple steps. And I've thought about it long and hard, but there is absolutely no way that I can do that process justice by summarizing it in just a couple of words. I can't do that. I won't do that. So instead, if you would like to really get an in-depth understanding of what machine learning is and how it works, I would suggest to you that once you are done watching my video, you go to YouTube and you search for machine learning, the latent space, and diffusion. And that will get you to where you need to go. That is key element 3, the training, where the AI goes to school. And the 4th key element is prompting. And that is what you and I do with an AI system. This is what happens when the AI has graduated school, so to speak, and is ready to go to work and receive its first assignments. And those assignments it gets from us. Prompting is nothing more than what you do in Google. You type in your search and Google presents you with the result after hitting the enter key. And now for a fun fact. Prompting an AI system is becoming such a valuable skill at the moment that commercial companies are actually hiring people to do that. You see lots of vacancies from big commercial companies out now that look for, I kid you not, a prompt engineer. That is an actual, real job. So if you are thinking about a career change, or if you are thinking about trying to make a break in the world of AI, become a prompt engineer and the doors will open for you. That is part 2 of my talk. Now you have, I hope at least, a basic understanding of what it means to make an AI program, what it needs. Again, this was a gross oversimplification. If you want to learn more, there are loads of beautiful videos out here on YouTube. But those are a couple of the essential things. And now we move into the most important part of this talk, and that is the ethical issues surrounding AI art. And as you may imagine, most of those issues concern that first key element, the scraping. When a data gathering company scrapes the internet, it does not distinguish between images that are free to use and images that portray copyrighted works of art. When a data gathering company scrapes the internet, it also does not display any manners. So when it visits your website or your DeviantArt page or your Etsy shop or your Instagram profile or your cross-stitch design space, it does not stop to say hi. It just comes in, takes what it likes, and leaves again, and you are none the wiser. As a result of that, those big image data sets are filled with millions and millions of images that display copyrighted works of art. Photographs, digital paintings, drawings, unique cross-stitch designs, you name it. And this is what makes a lot of people in the art industry very worried and concerned, and also very angry. We are by now at a point where 2 lawsuits have been filed against AI art companies. The first is filed in the United Kingdom, and that is Getty Images, the stock photo company, against Stable Diffusion, one of the big and popular AI art programs. The second one is being filed has been filed in the United States, and that is a class action lawsuit from 3 artists, and they are suing Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and DeviantArt's AI. And those cases basically boil down to, A, you have scraped my art and you have not asked for my permission. And that is what a lot of artists are, understandably worried about. They don't know that they have been scraped. And because they don't know, they have not been asked for their consent. They do not receive an ounce of credit for the success of these big popular AI art programs. And they also don't receive any sort of compensation. There's no licensing agreement. There is no consent asked, so there is also not a sort of opt-in system present. And people are obviously very worried about that. And to make that very tangible for you, I am now going to take you to a beautiful little website that is called haveibeentrained.com. This website is made by a company called Spawning AI, and it allows you and every other maker or artist out there to put in pieces of your artwork and to check if they have been scraped and trained and are part of those big data sets. And boy, oh boy, have many people discovered that their artworks have indeed been scraped and trained. And let's put in a couple of people that we all know and love from Heaven and Earth Designs. We start with Amy Stewart. And yes, Amy Stewart's art has been scraped and trained and put into this data set. That has happened without Amy knowing about it, without giving her permission, without receiving any credit, and without receiving any sort of compensation. We move on to the second one, another biggie, Leonid Efremov. Yes, he has also been scraped and trained. Nadia Strelkina, same thing, scraped and trained. No consent, no credit, no compensation. Ciro Marchetti, Jeremiah Kettner, Rachel Anderson, Josephine Wall, Jasmine Beckett-Griffith, Chris Ortega, Jan Patrick Kresny, Randall Spangler. And honestly, guys, I could keep going like this for at least another hour. All these artists have been scraped or have their artwork had scraped into these programs and trained to be then used to power these AI art programs. In fact, to make it even worse, the entire Heaven and Earth Designs website has been scraped and trained. The entire Heaven and Earth Designs catalog is in that 5.8 billion images data set. And I doubt very much that Michelle Sayeta has given her permission for that. And this, guys, is the core of the problem. This is why so many artists are furious about AI art companies. This is why many people say that AI art is theft. And theft is, of course, a very strong word to use, but I have to say, I can't imagine why they feel that way. If this would happen to me, if this was my art or even my livelihood, and I would one day wake up to discover that it has been used to power an incredibly powerful commercial program made by a for-profit company, I think I would be livid. And so the entire AI and art world are waiting with bated breath for what these two lawsuits are going to do. AI art companies are defending themselves so far by claiming that A, this is fair use, and B, once an AI training has been, once an AI program has been, extensively trained, those original images do not remain in the data anymore. That latter part is true. I will give them that. But for the rest, is this fair use? Is it just okay to scrape the web and to take millions and millions of images of copyrighted works of art without getting permission? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. We will have to see. But luckily, or at least in my opinion, luckily, there are quite some lawyers in Europe as well as in the United States who have, spoken up and given their support to the artist community. And they say that, yes, this is indeed copyright violation. And this is completely against the law. That does unfortunately not solve the issue, because the entirety of AI art programs is at this point in time not at all illegal. If you use Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, you can do so without any constraints. It is legal for you to use these programs. And it is legal because the world doesn't have legislation on this topic yet. The world has never seen something like this before. And that is obviously something that happens a lot with technology. Technology, leaps forward and forward. And moral codes and especially legislation will follow months or even years behind that. And as a result of that, nobody knows how these lawsuits are going to turn out. We just don't know. We don't know how long they're going to take. We don't know what the verdict will be, and we also don't know what is going to happen after that initial verdict. We will have to wait and see. But that does mean one thing. One very important thing, that in the meantime, it is up to you and me to decide our own moral code with regards to AI art and AI art charts. My take on the topic is very straightforward. I absolutely refuse to engage with AI art as long as there is no proper legislation and as long as there is not an ounce of protection for the artists whose art gets scraped. I would love it if we would get an opt-in system instead of, having to opt out after discovering you have been scraped. I would love to see some sort of, consent process or a license agreement or some kind of compensation. I don't know if that's possible. I work in AI, I don't work in law. But as long as those things are completely absent, I refuse to engage with AI art in whatever part of my life. I have told my colleagues at work I do not want to see AI art in our content. And if you sneak it past me, you are in trouble. And for my private life, especially for my stitching, it means two things. One, it means that I will not spend money on AI art charts. And two, ever since January, when I realized that Artisy was making AI art charts, I have become very careful in determining how a design has been made before I choose to buy it. And that is obviously something that happens especially with artists that are new to me. That is my take on the topic, and now it is up to you. I am not here to tell you what you should think. Not at all. I am just here to share my knowledge with you, to make you aware of the topic, and now it really is up to you to form your own opinion. And I would love to encourage you to carve out some time in the month of May or during Maynia and dive into this topic for yourself. There are by now hundreds and hundreds of articles and beautiful YouTube videos out there who discuss this topic, and they come from every viewpoint and every corner of the earth and every angle. So there is a plethora of opinions for you to choose from. But please do so. AI and AI art are here to stay. That does not mean that we can just let it run rampant. It needs regulations and rules and legislation, but they are here to stay. And AI is expected to be the next big thing in technology after the internet and the smartphone. It is absolutely going to change our world. And some experts actually even expect that the impact of AI will be even bigger than the impact of the internet on how our world, our societies, our economies, our businesses, our relationships even work. So in my view, it is absolutely vital that you get a basic understanding and that you get enough knowledge to form your own opinion. And I hope that this little Flosstube TED Talk has helped you in that. And that was my TED Talk. I'm getting all warm. This is something that is near and dear to my heart, and apparently it shows up on my cheeks, but that is okay. I hope you are still with me. If you are, thank you so much. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have learned something. I wish you a wonderful month of May. I wish you a wonderful and exciting Maynia if you are going to participate in Maynia. I will update on my posts, obviously, on Instagram. And we are going to see each other in my next Flosstube video. Ciao, my friends!